that, Lucretia. Sex is at the forefront of our, our generation. It's in ads, it's in cereal boxes. I mean, no matter where you're gonna find sex everywhere. So, how do you think that affects a certain demographic in any one direction?
Well, the sex positive movement is good for everyone. I mean, granted, we might be thinking that young people are really interested in sex and involved with it, but old people need to have permission to have fun and fuck and be promiscuous and whatever it is that they do, right? So a 60-year-old needs as much permission as a 20-year-old, and it's all okay.
Why is that, though?
You know why? I know exactly why. Because we come, especially in the United States, from a very puritanical background. And, that's just historic, it's religion and all that stuff. And so we have this perverted attraction to sex instead of it being really normal and natural. I grew up in Europe, and I've been told several times that my attitude towards sex has a lot to do with the fact I grew up in Europe and I didn't get that puritanical background. And I'm kind of like, what's the big deal? Let's have some fun and fuck, right?
So what would you say to the critics then who's anti that? I mean, a lot of people say, well, someone's probably at home with their dad or sitting next to their daughter or their 14-year-olds looking at this video and saying, hey, turn it off. What do you say to those guys, What advice would you give to them?
Well, everyone who engages in sex has to have a certain confidence and understanding of why they're doing it. I mean, if you're doing it to just seek affection, what you really want is affection. So I think it's a self-knowledge thing that you really need to know yourself to know why you're doing it. But if you do know yourself, then you should be able to have the confidence to engage in it and have some fun. If you don't, maybe you go need some therapy somewhere else, or go join a support group of some kind, or go play racquetball with friends or something, Maybe the sex isn't your outlet. It all depends.
Nice.
I better watch out for fucking, that kid Problems, terrible. He had a show, terrible numbers. Terrible fucking numbers. Less than 100 people showed up in the club. I'm like, what the fuck?
Some people will think if you have sex with more than one person, you're promiscuous, and other people, it's up in the hundreds, right? But I do want to make it clear that just because I'm sexually active,